to have the gift of the gab for this sort of thing.
I'll lead you. Don't worry.
Cheers.
Don't worry. So here we are with the Bionic Boxing Barber. I've just met up with the referee for this afternoon's proceedings. Spencer, straight away, you're a Derby lad, so Leicester Derby. We're a little bit like that straight away. You look like you've been around the game a little bit yourself.
50 professional fights.
50 professional
from
fights.
1988 to 1994. 50 professional fights. 1989, I had 22 professional fights. Was the busiest fighter in the United Kingdom.
Wow.
And I've boxed Neville Brown at Wembley Arena, and that was Joe Kawasaki's third professional fight. So
Joe Kawasaki's third professional fight.
Professional fight.
Wow. Well, he's not wearing as good as you.
Yeah, he stopped me in the second round, but if you look at his record, I believe his first 8 fights, he knocked everybody out in the first round except me, so that's a little bit of something.
Okay. So I'm guessing Joe was a lot lighter in them days when he fought you, because he went up to obviously super middleweight. What would he have been then?
He was super middleweight.
He was super middleweight then?
Yeah, he won the ABAs as a welterweight, then the light middleweight, then the middleweight, and then he turned professional as a super middleweight.
Okay, thanks for putting me right on that. No, he went on to obviously have a great career, and obviously I'm guessing you followed his career from the moment you were in the ring to then beyond, and you're part of what Joe went on to achieve, because without jumping in the ring with you, Joe wouldn't have gone on and did what he did. Yes. So everybody helps everybody in boxing, don't they?
That's right, yes, and in my point of view, Joe Kawasaki is the greatest boxer ever to come out of the United Kingdom.
Spencer, I absolutely agree with you. I think he's the best British boxer we've ever had from these shores. So, we're both agreeing on that. He's a fantastic guy, and I don't think his record will ever be achieved again.
Exactly. Yeah, that good. Yeah. And it was, I remember straight after that fight, I went to his corner. It was Terry Lawless in the corner. I said, bloody hell, Terry, this bloke's world champion in 3 years' time. And Terry slapped me on about, bloody hell, son, not that quick. Well, if you have a look from the date when I fought him to the date he won world title, I think it was something like 3 years and 2 weeks. So it was exactly.
So tell us a little bit about boxing in them days, because there's a lot of guys getting onto boxing now in their 20s and 30s, and they'll really be intrigued to hear about this. Do you think the shows are as good as they used to be? Is the guys coming through? You've been around boxing a long time. How do you see boxing going with these YouTubers and everything?
Well, I've not watched the YouTubers, but boxing is boxing. The fights are the same. But obviously the rules and regulations, especially on the safety side of things, has changed quite a lot. For example, I had 22 fights in one season in 1989. That would be very, very difficult to do now, because if you have a stoppage, you have to have a very long break, whereas back in 1980, in the late 80s, you could literally just have a few days off them fights. Again, in fact, if you had one fight one day, and you stop your opponent within 2 rounds, you could actually fight the very next day. Yeah. Because that would be impossible now. You have to have a long break. So to do 22 fights in one season now would be very difficult.
So the white collar stuff, that keeps you in a job. You go and adjudicate at the white collar stuff. Do you think that's got busier over the last few years? And do you think there's room for it in boxing? Guys coming through from that onto the professional circuit, perhaps?
White collar boxing has been a blessing to boxing. We just used to have the Amateur Boxing Association and the British Boxing Board control. There was nothing in between. I've been involved in white collar boxing since the very, very start, since the early 2000s, and it's gone from strength to strength. There's now probably more white collar boxing than amateur and British Boxing Board control put together. So it's a good in-between level.
Well, I hope it's not too much for you to handle tonight, and they all behave themselves, and you have a good afternoon.
Oh yeah, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, lovely to meet you. Derby lad.
Cheers. Yes.
Cheers. Thank you.